Hello and welcome to the iNews special bulletin. This is Tejaswin Alam. Let's look at the headlines first. Tension at the Telangana border checkpost over denial of e-pass holders entry. Migrant workers woes continue. Power bills to continue despite lockdown. TSERC issues billing guidelines to DISCOMs. AP gives citizens a scare too. Some districts in AP might see resumption of public transport services post the 17th of May. Officials are treading with caution. Lockdown 3.0. Liquor flows, revenue overflows. Tipplers ready to pay the premium. And now for the news in detail. The lifting of the ban on the sale of liquor during the lockdown witnessed the much anticipated response from booze lovers who thronged liquor stores across the country. Huge rushes were witnessed at all liquor stores. At some places, queues stretching up to as long as 200 meters were witnessed even as early as the night before the shutters went up. Despite strict norms restricting the purchase of liquor, people were seen purchasing several bottles at a time, with many people purchasing boxes of liquor to avoid visiting the stores again. As expected, the social distancing norms were merrily abandoned, with law enforcement officers relegated to being mute, helpless witnesses to the regulations being violated.
అందుబాటులో వేస్తున్నారు కానీ ఇచ్చింది కూడా ఫస్ట్ 130కి ఇచ్చేవారు ఇప్పుడు 170 రూపాయలు చేశారు అంటే 50 రూపాయలు పెంచారు మేము కష్టపడేది మేము రోజల్లా కష్టపడితే 200 300 తెచ్చుకుంటాం సాయంత్రం మేము ఇంటికి వెళ్ళేటప్పటికి మాకు 100 మిగులుతుంది కానీ ఇదే మందు ఈ 40 రోజులు మేము తాగడం మానేసాం ఈ 40 రోజులు మేము తాగడం మానేసాం అలాగనేసి మేము చచ్చిపోలేదు ఇదే మందు ఇలాగ కంటిన్యూ చేసేయండి ఆపేయండి అందరూ బాగుపడతాం మా భార్య బిడ్డలు బాగుపడతారు.
Anticipating the demand, the AP government had hiked liquor prices in the state by 25% even before the relaxation went into effect. However, it looks like the response has surpassed even the government's wildest expectations. The liquor sales in the state for a single day crossed the 40 crore mark. Encouraged by the response, the government hiked the prices by a further 50%. The official word is that the hike is to discourage people from consuming liquor. Sources, however, say that the fresh hike could fetch an additional revenue of 9,000 crore per annum to the cash-starved state government.
మరి సాయంకాలం ఎంతమంది అవుతారో తెలియదు రేట్లు ఎక్కువ అయితే కొద్దిగా ఇబ్బంది పడతారు అప్పుడు మీద కొద్దిగా ఇబ్బంది పడ్డారు కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు పర్వాలేదు అనుకొని తీసుకుంటారు 2 వేసి 3 వేసి తీసుకుంటారండి అదే వాతావరణం సరిగా సరుకులు దొరకలేదండి సరుకు దొరక కొద్దిగా చాలా మంది బాధపడ్డారు వాళ్ళకి ఏదో ఎర్రెర్రిగా మాట్లాడతాం పిచ్చోళ్ళలాగా అంటాం ఇలా కొంతమంది హాస్పిటల్కి వెళ్తాం ఈ రకంగా జరిగింది ఇప్పుడు తెస్తే కొద్దిగా కంట్రోల్ అవుతారు అందరూ వీటి గురించి రేట్లు పెంచితేనే తాగి.
In Delhi, things were slightly different. The Delhi government imposed a special coronavirus fee of 70% on the maximum retail price starting today. It made no bones about the fact that the hike was to fill the coffers. The chief minister also warned that the onus of ensuring social distancing would be on the individual shopkeepers and that violations would result in the shop being closed or the withdrawal of relaxation for stores to remain open. The relaxation has brought another issue to the fore once again. Should the government look at digital licensing for the sale and purchase of liquor among the below poverty line families? And if it is, how should it be implemented? This window provided by the coronavirus pandemic lockdown is a golden opportunity for India to bring in a compulsory licensing for purchase and consumption of liquor and to prohibit the sale of liquor to the poor and the BPL population. In more cafes, the issuance of e-pass by the Telangana government to migrants who were stranded in the state since March 21 due to the lockdown seems to have served no purpose at all. The AP police have not been allowing migrants to re-enter the state. The police authorities in AP say that the passes lacked authenticity, leading to the entry of the pass holders being barred. Tension prevailed yesterday at Garikipadu, Vadapalli and other checkposts as several people stranded in Telangana were prevented from entering Andhra Pradesh. The Nandigama police intercepted more than 100 people arriving from Telangana at the Garikipadu checkpost. In more news about migrant workers, the construction industry along with other industries that depend heavily on migrant workers may have bad news in tow. Interviews with migrant workers who have just returned from their hometowns show how broken and lost their dreams are, with many firmly stating that they would much prefer dying in their native places than to return to cities. The season of bad news does not seem to be ending. As the lockdown continues to be in force in the state, the Telangana State Electricity Regulatory Commission, or the TSERC, has allowed the two DISCOMs to issue power bills to all low-tension category consumers based on their previous year's consumption. This is effective for customers belonging to the domestic, street lighting and protected water supply category. For commercial, industrial, cottage and agro-based industries, general and temporary supply category, consumers will be issued minimum bills for May if the lockdown period is extended further from the 7th of May. Else, they shall be issued with bills by taking actual reading of the energy consumption. And in news from across the border, people in AP have also been at the receiving end of some rude shocks. The DISCOMs which have suspended spot billing owing to the lockdown have taken to billing the customers for 2 months of cumulative consumption, resulting in most customers being billed at the highest slabs. The bills, which earlier used to be in hundreds of rupees, are now running into the thousands. Customers who are trying to find a way out have so far been unsuccessful. The helpfulness of the customer service helplines across the country needs absolutely no introduction. The Minister of Cinematography, Talasani Srinivas Yadav, has claimed that the corona pandemic has badly affected the film industry, saying that the prominent producers of Telugu cinema have presented a written request asking the government to take a quick decision about allowing of shooting of films and TV serials. He assured that, subject to a drop in the number of cases, film and serial shooting will be allowed in the state in June.
ఏమంటే ఇప్పుడున్న పరిస్థితుల్లో ఎట్లాగో 2 నెలలు అవుతుంది. మరి ఇంకా లేనిపోని తొందరపాటుతో ఇబ్బందులు తెచ్చుకోవడం కంటే ఎట్లాగో ఈ మంత్ ఎండింగ్ గడిచే వరకు చూసుకుంటే ఎట్లయినా నెక్స్ట్ మంత్ జూన్ నుంచి చేసే విధంగా షూటింగ్స్ కానీ మీకు పోస్ట్ ప్రొడక్షన్ కానీ అన్నీ కూడా మనం మాట్లాడుకోనికి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. అంటే కొంత టైం వరకు పరిమితంగా ఉంటుందన్న. ఈరోజు ప్రపంచంలో చాలామందికి ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ పోతుంది కూడా. సెల్ఫ్ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ కావచ్చు, వాళ్ళ ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ కావచ్చు, చాలా జరుగుతున్నాయి. బట్ మన ఇండస్ట్రీ దగ్గరకు వస్తే ఆ స్కోప్ లేదు. మన ఇండస్ట్రీలో ఈరోజు దేశంలోనే అత్యధికమైనటువంటి షూటింగ్స్ కానీ సినిమాలు తీస్తున్నటువంటి తెలుగు ఫిలిం.
The Government of India, in a bid to take the control of the corona pandemic in the country, has taken the initiative to form 20 central public health teams from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. One of these teams will be sent to each of the 20 districts that are reporting the maximum number of COVID cases in the country. 3 of the 20 districts are from AP. The three districts of Kurnool, Guntur and Vijayawada have all seen a significant surge in corona cases. Add to this the opening of liquor shops and the blithe violation of social distancing norms around the liquor vents have left the centre worried. The central team will study the current situation, the corona testing procedure and the treatment plan, along with the actions taken by the government in the red, orange and green zones and take a call. The opposition Congress party slammed the Telangana Rashtra Samiti government for doing fewer COVID-19 tests than the national average and sought Governor Tamilisai Soundararajan's intervention in the matter. The state's Congress chief Uttam Kumar Reddy called on the governor at the Raj Bhavan and complained to her about the state government's shortcomings in tackling the COVID-19 situation. He wanted to know why the government was not conducting an adequate number of tests. He alleged that Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao is taking unilateral decisions without consulting the opposition. Taking part in what has been titled the Raitu Sankshema Diksha or the protest for the betterment of farmers, Uttam Kumar complained that despite 40 days of the lockdown, a section of the poor have not received the 1500 rupee financial aid announced by the state government. He also targeted the government for not having correct statistics with regard to the migrant labourers in the state. Alleging shortcomings in the procurement of paddy, he said farmers were suffering due to the faulty policies of the government.
నల్గొండలో బత్తాయి మార్కెట్లో పోయినసారి 40,000 పర్ టన్ ఉన్న బత్తాయి ఇప్పుడు 10,000 పర్ టన్ పడ్డది. కొనే నాదుడే లేదు. మీరే ఈ సిచ్యువేషన్ కి కారణం. ముఖ్యమంత్రి గారే ఈ బత్తాయి రైతుల క్రైసిస్ కి కారణం కాబట్టే రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వం ఈ బత్తాయిలు కొనుగోలు చేసి మీరన్నట్టే జనానికి విటమిన్ సి అవసరం, ఇమ్యూనిటీ అవసరం కాబట్టి.
Talking about public transportation, the administration earlier made it clear that the COVID-19 protocol would be in force even after the relaxations have come into effect. Senior officials indicated that inter-district movement and public transport system within the districts would not be allowed to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Currently, Vizianagaram is under the green zone with no COVID-19 cases reported and Srikakulam has come under the orange zone with 5 positive cases. Officials fear that both districts would turn into red zones within no time if public transport is allowed. However, according to recent reports, North Coastal Andhra Pradesh is likely to be the first zone to see resumption of public transport services in the state if the conditions laid down by the Union Ministry of Home Affairs are met. 4 districts, Visakhapatnam, Vizianagaram, Srikakulam and East Godavari, come under APSRTC's North Coastal Zone. Visakhapatnam, Srikakulam and East Godavari have been identified as orange zones, while Vizianagaram has been identified as a green zone. With 3 orange zone districts and 1 green zone district, North Coastal AP is likely to be the first area to see the resumption of RTC services. As per MHA guidelines, all activities except those prohibited nationwide are allowed in green zones. Buses can run with 50% capacity in green zones. However, the state has not taken a final call on this. Sources say that the plans to resume bus services with proper precautions are being laid down and the districts may see bus services resume after the 17th of May. In news from the flip side, the Defense and Research Development Organization DRDO has developed an ultraviolet disinfection tower that can be used for rapid and chemical-free disinfection of infection-prone areas. It is likely to prove useful at a time when the novel coronavirus pandemic has disrupted normal life across India. A note released by the Ministry of Defence says that the product, called the UV Blaster, is useful for high-tech surfaces like electronic equipment, computers and other gadgets in areas that are not amenable to chemical disinfection methods. The product is also said to be effective for areas with large flow of people such as airports, shopping malls, factories and offices. That's all from us from the studio for now. Stay home, stay safe and please stay tuned. We'll be back with more.